So it's week 6 of 40 of trying to build a marketing agency whilst working a 9 to 5, and so building it in my weekends and my evenings. So it's not as easy as it looks. A lot of people online, they show it as just, oh, I get up, then I just work a little bit, and then 10 grand comes into my account. And I'll tell you from first-hand experience, it's not that easy. It's not that exciting, and it's a lot more boring, which is fine. So I'm just going to take you through what a normal week might look for me, or a normal day. Because that way, you're not going to be misled by these other influencers, right? And sadly, that's just how it goes. As soon as people get some money behind them, they just end up scamming them, becoming disingenuous, dishonest, and I'm just trying to fight against that and just show you what it's really like. So for me, a typical day, right? So I work, I'm an accountant, I'm a fully qualified, soon to be chartered accountant. So I do have, it can be quite a stressful job. So I'll wake up around 7 midweek, go to work, come back around 4:30, or finish the day at 4:30, head to the gym, head to jiu-jitsu or rock climbing, or I'll go for a run just to clear my head. And then I'll come back home, say 7, I'll eat dinner and I'll work. So right now for me, I'm in business with my brother, who's my business partner. He handles operations, so that does free up a lot of time for me. My main focus is the marketing and the outreach. So my minimum goal each day is to send 30 messages. And that might sound like not that much, right? And I'm not saying it is that much, but I originally started by doing 100 on Saturday, 100 on Sunday. Right, so what's that? That's 800 a week. 800 a month, sorry. That I found a lot harder to be consistent with compared to doing 30 a day, right? And most of the time I do way more than 30 a day. I'll do 80 or 100, right? But just knowing in my mind, to be happy, all I need to hit is 30, you end up doing more. And then on the days where you're really busy, you've got commitments, right? Even if you have to come back home and send 30 messages, it's not the end of the world, it's fine. And then you still feel your motivation is still high, which is important, or at least it allows you to be disciplined, okay? So far I've sent about 1,000 messages on LinkedIn manually. So that's what an average day looks like for me. In terms of how it feels, I've realized that motivation is just not, it helps you get started, but you need discipline. If you're not disciplined, you're not going to make it far, because motivation, it's like the story of the tortoise and the hare, right? The hare, it's motivated. It sprints the race, right? But halfway through it gets tired, so it stops and then it goes again. Meanwhile, the turtle has just been plodding along, doing what it can, being consistent, and it ends up beating the hare. So we want to be like the turtle and be consistent over motivation. The other thing I've noticed is the perceived sacrifices. And I say perceived because it's not really a sacrifice most of the time. So, for example, you might think, oh, I can't go out with my friends, right? I can't go out anymore because I'm working on this business. But that's not necessarily the case. All you need to do is eliminate certain parts of going out, right? So realistically, if you can't stop drinking after 2, you probably shouldn't drink. You can still go out and have a good time, but you just might not be able to drink, especially if it destroys your next day only having 2. That's something I've realized. But it doesn't mean you can't go out. You can still go out and have fun. In fact, you can even go out, stay out till 12 or stay out till 11, but just don't go to the club after. The club is when you stay out till 3 and you destroy your next day and you get no work done the next day. So realistically, and also, are you really going to have that much fun Like, think about the amount of fun you have with your friends till about 11 or 12. Usually the night goes downhill when you go to the nightclub. So you're taking all the enjoyment, you're still keeping all the enjoyment from going out with your friends, but you're eliminating the shit bits which you think aren't rubbish, but they are. At least the next day, because they take away from the evening, but they also take away from the next day when you can't work and you've got a headache. I think the hardest part for me though or the most painful part of this process is my perception of other people's opinion. So initially I didn't think, or less so about me, but just in general, you don't think these people's opinions matter. It's like, why would I care about that person's opinion? They have nothing to do with my life. It might just be your boss or a friend's friend or your ex, something like that. But when you actually think about it and you go to do something which is difficult, like start a business, you realize that you subliminally care about their opinions. Like, oh, in the back of your mind, if you're worrying about their opinion, you might be thinking, oh, I don't know how's this they might laugh at me, right? So I think just having that realization that you do actually care about some people's opinion who you shouldn't, right? And that's something that's hit me. I care about certain people's opinions, and I think to myself, why do I care about their opinion? They have no meaning in my life, and I actually don't really like them. So that was another big mental learning point for me. In terms of wins, I've realized, so tracking your outreach if you're doing sales helps so much, because I could have just sent LinkedIn messages and realistically right now I'd be thinking I've made no progress. But now that I track it, well, now I know I've hit 1,000 outreaches, so that's great. I know what my response rate is. I know what messages work, what messages don't. So I've actually learned a lot. Whereas otherwise, if I hadn't been tracking, I could just say, I've not got any sales. But there's still small wins in the day-to-day. So tracking is so important. I think also enjoying the process is really important as well. You know, I just grab my coffee when I start on the weekends, grab my coffee, put on some good music, put on some headphones, listen to an audiobook, and just doing that can help you really appreciate the small wins each day and help you to stay disciplined. So, I mean, why am I doing this? Why are you doing this? I can only tell you why I'm doing it, but for me, it's the freedom, right? Working a 9-to-5 corporate job for 3 years, almost 4 years now, straight from school, and just realizing, or just thinking, is there more to life? One of my work colleagues was next to me, and he's a very nice guy, and you know, he's very chatty and outgoing. He was like, is this all there is to life? So wanting more from life, money is obviously a motivator. Freedom, obviously I'm moving to Guatemala, as some of you might know, for 6 months. So just allowing myself to have that freedom and to take a risk and to take a short-term risk, take a short-term sacrifice that could pay off massively, and not letting that chance be squandered. You know, and obviously it's a sacrifice in terms of, or it's a risk, but it's also a sacrifice in terms of, you know, realistically, you're going to be busier and you're going to do less social things. But something Alex Hormozy said, he said, I'd rather be an overachieved, underlived 30-year-old than an overlived, underachieved 30-year-old. And that just always resonated with me, because I just see the truth in that, and that's something I'm aspiring to be. Obviously, no one wants to be underlived, but realistically, you'll be slightly less underlived if you're focused on your achievements. And I think your achievements are easier to attain when you're 20 than they are when you're 30, especially if you've got kids, etc. So that's why I'm doing it. And I think what I want you to take home from this video is that the thing separating the losers and the winners is just consistency, discipline, and just being able to do boring work. Like, do you think this is interesting? Me sending all these messages? No, not really. And sometimes I sit there and think, what am I doing? But in the end, I know it will pay off, and I know that is why whenever I get that feeling, it's like, this is great, because someone else has got this feeling and then quit. And that's another person I'm ahead of. That's another person I'm beating. That's the competition reducing, okay? I think that's a great thing to have in the back of your head. When it's hard, think about people quitting and think about you getting ahead of them, okay? And I think the last thing I wanted to say to you guys, to hopefully bring you some value, is just be patient. Just keep working towards your goals and you'll get there eventually, okay? Try not to compare yourself to others, because comparison is the thief of joy, and most of the time it's a front anyways. But yeah, I hope this video helped and was useful to you.